Hola, Tecumseh, you ideal reply to where's a great place to live? Welcome to the Tecumseh Bicentennial Podcast. I'm going to be your host, Benjamin J Nichols, but you can call me Benito Guapo. Today I'm going to interview Phil Devaney, who is not a Tecumseh resident, but is a part of Tecumseh culture. I'll tell you how in a bit. We also will be hearing a bit of baseball history in today's Bit O' History with Bob. I also have a special thing to say that I don't really have a title for, and I think you'll see why. Actually, I think I will call it Thank You. I have a thing today I'm going to call Thank You. But first, let's talk to Phil Devaney. He's not only a part of the community chorus, but he also wrote one of the songs that they sang at their last concert. It's called Through All These Years, and it is a tribute to the city of Tecumseh. So even though he doesn't live in Tecumseh, he wrote a song about Tecumseh, and I think that's really cool. So cool, in fact, that the community chorus will be joining us under the direction of Dr. Bill Abbott for the WTCA radio show, and we'll be singing that song on stage as part of the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. All that said, let's get on with our interview with Phil Devaney.
My name is Phil Devaney. I was born and raised in Lapeer, Michigan, 20 miles east of Flint. I've been living in Britain for the last 11 years or so, serving as the pastor at Britain Bethel Baptist Church. And I also sing along with the Tecumseh Pops. That's how I got here, I think. Before that, we were out in Maine, where I served as a music educator out there. And I've been married to my darling wife for, well, it'll be 28 years this month.
Congratulations.
Did I say 28? 38.
38, wow.
28, 38. We have a son that just turned 36, so it better be 38. We have 4 children, a 36-year-old son who lives in Oakland, California, a 30-year-old, almost 31-year-old son that lives in northern Maine. He and his wife and 2 kids, plus 1 on the way. And then we have a 25-year-old, almost 26-year-old daughter who lives with her husband near Denver, Colorado. And they've got their first child on the way. And then we have a 5-year-old that we adopted. We were foster parents, and he came to live with us when he's 2 days old, and he's been living with us ever since.
There's something special about adoption. What is something about you? Phil Devaney?
Devaney.
Devaney. I've been pronouncing it Devaney.
You pronouncing it right. I'm not sure if I'm getting it out right.
All right.
We'll find out. My son's supposed to be taking me to Ireland this fall, and I think we're supposed to be Irish, so we'll figure out how they say it. I think it's probably Devaney or something.
All right. You're going to have to let me know.
Yeah, okay.
What is something about you that is not a secret, but most people probably don't know?
Most people don't know I'm an introvert. Matter of fact, whenever I try to tell people that know me that I'm an introvert, they laugh at me. But I really do have a strong introverted side.
That is kind of funny, though, because, immediately, you come in, we start talking, and you seem very comfortable. So,
well, it just depends on the situation. Okay. I can easily be a loner.
All right. What hobbies do you have, sir?
Well, I shouldn't refer to music as a hobby, but that's about what it's become now. I also tried my hand at gardening, been trying to do raised beds, and trying to learn how to compost. I'm not very good at it. I love to read, do a lot of reading for both work and for play. And then I love to take walks. My wife and son and I, we love coming in here to Tecumseh and walking. What's it called? The Indian Crossing Trails or whatever? Love walking on that. Usually it's a shorter version.
Yeah, because there's options.
There's options. I like to walk the longer version. I haven't done that yet this year.
Reading for work as well as for pleasure. What's your genre of choice?
For pleasure, my genre of choice is Christian fiction.
Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
To sleep 8 hours a night.
That's kind of sad, bud. I understand, though. Especially if you have a 5-year-old. Golly.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. So what superpower did you get stuck with?
Averaging 6 hours of sleep a night.
And still being able to function.
I still function.
All right, fair enough. Tell me a story you plan on telling your grandkids.
Well, for me, the most important story that I plan to tell my grandkids when they're old enough would be the story of Jesus and his love. But I do plan on telling them some embarrassing stories about their parents.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what grandparents are for, I think.
I think so.
At least in part.
Right now, my only grandchildren live in Maine, so I barely know them.
Sure.
My wife was able to spend about 6 weeks with them this winter, helping them out with some issues out there. But I've gotten to see them about once a year, and that's about it.
Okay. Today, Bob Elliott in A Bit of History with Bob is going to tell us about a baseball game that Tecumseh played a really long time ago.
So Tecumseh baseball really gets started right after the Civil War. They have teams, they meet in a couple different places, and baseball is like all of a sudden a pastime that everybody can't get enough of. Crowds are huge. They really get rolling around the turn of the century, 1900 or so. Tecumseh gets some teams together, and they get into the Michigan League. And 1903, 1904, they've got pretty good teams put together. In 1905, they win the whole thing. They play teams, Jackson, Detroit, big cities for little Tecumseh back then. It's kind of cool. And the guy that puts it all together for Tecumseh is a family's well established here. Rainer, Hasten. Family has the brewery in town, not the brewery, the foundry in town. And unbelievable stuff. He gets raises the team, he coaches the team, travels with the team. There's I think 11 guys on the team, and they go everywhere. They take trains, and pretty good team puts together. Well, they end up playing in a World Series of best out of 7, and unbelievable. They play in Mount Clemens, and it's all tied up 3-3. Mount Clemens is 1-3, and Tecumseh's 1-3, and they get to the last game, and it's in Mount Clemens. 250 people from Tecumseh take the train up there to watch the local guys play, and it's quite the game. Or I think from reading, our star player gets hit in the head by a ball, and anyway, the Tecumseh guys end up winning the game 3-0. So they win the championship, and they're given $1,000 to split between the players, which was an astronomical amount of money back then. So they're on their way back home. They take the train home, and they're greeted by 5,000 people in downtown Tecumseh. 2 bands come to play, and no one can even hear the bands. The crowds are so loud to see their heroes. There's a dinner thrown in their honor. When a train pulls in town, kids are running along the train track to cheer them in. So it's very exciting. Of course, sadly, Rainer marries a local gal, a Williamson gal, a really pretty gal, and they have a little girl, two-year-old little girl, and they try to have another child, and she dies of child labor. And he's a hard-working guy and ends up dying a couple years later. It's really sad. They're buried right next to each other in the cemetery. The daughter becomes a teacher in town and travels through Europe in the 1930s and lives quite an age, but she's buried right behind her parents in Brookside Cemetery. So it's quite a story to tell, but it's very, very exciting. So
sounds like fun, Tecumseh. Come to the ball game on July 21st at the Baseball Diamond across from Temple Fitness. I will give you more details as we get closer to the event. Just don't exhaust your cheering muscles, because remember, after the ball game, you have to go to the TCA for the WTCA radio show the same day at 3 p.m. Now back to Phil Devaney. What inspires you personally?
Well, what inspires me is God and His Word. That's my main inspiration in life. Many of the songs that I've written over the years have been, I guess, inspired while I'm either meditating or memorizing Scripture. I remember one time I was taking a walk. This is when I'm living in Maine. That year I was memorizing, for the whole year for my devotional time, I was memorizing Scripture. And so I was memorizing, I think it was Psalm 96. I'm walking, and all of a sudden this song just pops in my mind, literally from Psalm 96, So I enjoy that.
What do you passionately care about?
Well, I passionately care about people. I am a people person. I might be introverted, but I love people. My dad always told me he asked too many questions. Well, that's because I want to get to know people, I really do care about people, and of course I care about them having that right relationship with Christ.
Absolutely. And I think that's an important distinction to make, that being introverted doesn't mean you don't like people. If I say, what is your favorite memory in or involving Tecumseh, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, my time with the Tecumseh Pops Choir. I enjoy that very much. And of course, like I said, we love hiking around the mill pond there, whatever that trail's called, Indian Crossings, I think. We love to come into Tecumseh, park our car on Union Street and walk around and just look at the buildings. The houses, especially the older ones, are so beautiful there.
Absolutely. There's a lot of beautiful houses on Union. There's a lot of beautiful houses throughout, but I think they're kind of special on Union. So we're going to be singing an original composition of yours for the WTCA radio show. What can you tell us about it?
Well, first of all, Bill Abbott approached me last fall about if I would be willing to consider writing a piece in honor of the bicentennial celebration. Somebody on the Tecumseh Pops board had brought it up. And so I said I'd take a stab at it. So I started doing research because I obviously didn't know the history. And of course, what I wrote, in the song didn't get into a lot of details of names or anything. There's just too many and somebody get left out. In the original score, I didn't even remember to put the word Tecumseh in it. We had to go back and figure out where to put it.
It's not easy.
I said, the founding of our community, well, the founding of Tecumseh fits just right there. And so I was really intrigued by the part about the Underground Railroad. That I love studying about that as a kid. My own family had been in Springfield, Illinois at the time of the Civil War. So they were in Lincoln Land. And my third, fourth great-grandfather and his two sons joined the Union Army. And he was killed in Tennessee at, I don't know if they call it Murfreesboro or Stone River or Stone Creek, something there, and is buried there in the National Cemetery. His son was also wounded in Tennessee, whether it's in that war or not, I don't know. And his son is also my great-grandfather. He was nursed back to health by Southern Belle.
Okay.
And he went AWOL from the Army and married her and stayed in Tennessee. So that history period has always been fascinating for me. And so I was really intrigued to see about Tecumseh being a catalyst, as it was referred to in my research, for the Underground Railroad here in Michigan. And so that was really cool.
There are certain subjects, at least to my mind, whose gravity is such that it demands my respect and careful treatment. Levity is not the appropriate tone here. However, this podcast is a celebration of the life and history of Tecumseh, especially its people. And to ignore this particular topic would be, to my mind, an insult to those who displayed that which is the best in all of us. So I will begin by simply quoting directly from Tecumseh's Historical Museum's website. Quote, "The Underground Railroad, Michigan as a state, was a critical part of this pivotal freedom network due to its borders with Canada. The population in Tecumseh and Lenawee County in general were catalysts to the movement in Michigan, setting the standard for support against slavery in the region. Many homes in Tecumseh are stated to have history tied to the Underground Railroad, with tunnels and secret passages to facilitate safe movement for escaping slaves on their search for freedom. From the Beardsley House to the Hamilton House and others, Tecumseh is full of stories about its history and ties to the Underground Railroad network." Unquote. I have no clever words or catchy tunes to celebrate this topic, so instead I simply offer these thoughts. Whether here in Tecumseh or anywhere else on this earth, thank you. Even though you cannot hear me say it, thank you. Thank you to each and every man who has ever thought to declare that the sanctity of another's life was so valuable that you would put yourself and your family in harm's way to secure their safety. Thank you to every father and son who stepped onto a battlefield because you believed so hard in the rights and the dignity of other men, women, and children that you would pay for those rights with your very lives. Thank you to every woman who ever answered the door to a monster seeking after an escaped human that they thought that they had some right to claim. Thank you for sending the monsters away. Thank you for putting your own body in the doorway. Thank you for holding firm the line between seeker and those who were sought. Thank you to every child who took your lead from a respected elder and protected the secrets of tunnels and passageways. Thank you for recognizing the goodness in what your parents did, and thank you for determining to be a part of it. Thank you, Tecumseh, for being a part of a larger community, one that said the ownership of another human life is wrong. The treatment of people as chattel has no place in our world, and we will fight against it. There are heroes we speak of and remember: Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Laura Smith Haviland, to name a few. They give us names to be grateful for, and we truly are. Their leadership in this endeavor was inspiring, but I am speaking to the families in homes. one individual cannot take credit for the decency of a community, but a decent community is made up of decent individuals. Tecumseh, I am grateful for you. I am grateful for the families that came before you and helped to set one of the finest examples of humanity seen on this earth. It is good to celebrate our community. It is good to live in a place that had a hand in such a precious endeavor. You did not abolish slavery on your own, but you did your part. Thank you.
I tried to frame the lyric of the song in the past, the present, and the future. And in truth, the tune I borrowed from a previous tune that I'd written for our church's 75th anniversary. When I was talking to my wife about being asked to do this, she says, "Man, it's too bad you just can't repurpose that song because it was a one-and-done song. You know, when are you ever going to sing that again?" And I thought about it, played the tune for Bill, and he liked it. And so then I had to write a new lyric that would fit to that song. But, you know, when you have the meter or whatever in mind, then it's a little bit easier. Usually I start with the words and then the music, but
Tell us, what is the title of the song?
Through all these years, and the interesting thing, because I borrowed it from another song, when I sit down at the piano and try to sing it myself, which it works pretty good as a solo song, by the way, I get the words mixed up. I keep going back and forth between the two songs.
I understand that too.
And even though I wrote it in the past tense, present tense, and future tense, even with the music in front of me, I still get the tenses mixed up when I'm singing it in the choir part.
That's amazing.
I think, my father-in-law lived with us for a couple of years, and he's got Alzheimer's, and I really think that's contagious.
Oh, no. Oh, golly, I hope not. Jeez.
I hope not.
Do you have any memories involving a Tecumseh business that you can share?
We've just always enjoyed Smith and Sons, and there's something about going in there and they know you. Goodness gracious, one of the ladies that's there, I don't even have to tell her who I am. She just goes and gets the medicine, and I enjoy that. We like to go to Jerry's Market to get all of our meats and stuff, and my 5-year-old son, he always likes to come away with something from the deli department, some chocolate mousse type of thing or something. He never shares it with me, though.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, it's a real bummer.
We got to work on that. Do you have any memories involving a Tecumseh Park?
I don't know all the names of the parks. There's one on the corner of Evans and Russell that we call the Water Park. Mm-hmm. And my son loves to go there.
Calzorn.
Okay. There's another one where there's a little pond down there. I think somebody's called it the Pit or something. I don't know if that's the actual name of it or not.
That's exactly the name.
That is the name.
I love these because every Tecumseh native references the Pit. Mm-hmm. That is the park in Tecumseh that everyone went to go swimming growing up.
Oh, yeah?
All the memories are of the Pit.
So are you from here originally?
I am not. Nope. No, this is me just hearing from everybody else and, and my own wife and her friends. She grew up in Tipton, so she didn't go to the Pit as often, but her friends did. I mean, that was the place to be. So
that is the official name. I just assumed that was a local name of it.
No, that is what it's called. What message or piece of advice maybe do you have for the people of Tecumseh 100 years from now?
Well, I think the bridge to the song that I wrote really is the best advice I can give. The phrase goes, "How we live together will make all the difference. What we do unto others as we'd have them do to us." And I think that's a good rule to live by. I think it's called the golden rule, maybe.
It is, but, I think Jesus said it before it was called the golden rule. So.
I think so. Matthew chapter 7.
Yep. I love it. Are there any questions that you wish I had asked?
What's for supper?
What's for supper?
Can't go to JR's.
What are we eating? I know, they closed down.
Thursday night was all you could eat ribs, too, Oh.
Bunch of bums.
Not that I need all you can eat.
All right, well, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing your song Through All These Years on July 21st at the TCA at 3 p.m. Well, my beloved Tecumseh, that is our episode for today. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for an interview with Deb Burton of the Burton Agency. Spoiler alert, be ready to be inspired. Until tomorrow, Tecumseh. Okay.